we are expecting more to jump in online. Everyone, it's kind of a miserable night, so there's no question why people don't want to drive in. So. A lot of people can just say they just jump on if they don't make the actual presentation, they'll just jump on the recording and then they'll pick up the notes.
Okay. You want to start?
Oh no, just give a few more minutes.
Okay.
If you don't, if you're okay with that, Susan, we just give everybody just a few more minutes and.
Sure. No problem.
I wonder where they went. They were just. Yeah, but even we had a whole bunch of other people that said they'd like to jump in and accept it, and
Michelle and Michael are usually come on.
well, that's okay. Like I said, if they're tied up, they may jump on as we're going on, so just keep an eye on the.
In the meantime, I'll say congratulations on your new appointment, Joe.
Oh, thanks, Susan. Yeah. I'm excited about that. So we got a lot of good things happening here, and then plus over at UPAC, we've got a lot of things that we want to work on. So it's very exciting.
Great.
Can you just try to have a touch?
I can't. That's as loud as it goes.
Spark off the TV.
No, I don't know why.
I know how to do it, but I'm worried it's gonna have to do something with the recording. So yeah, we'll just stay quiet. We'll just have to be quiet. It's under the 3 dots where it says more.
This?
Yeah. But oh, some of their.
Hi, Michael.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Very good. Sorry, I'm a little bit late.
That's okay.
No, we're just giving a little bit of time here for people to jump in.
Just
There we go.
finishing-
Oh, they're back.
Yeah.
See, Tim, you've joined.
Tim and Darlene, I think, are
They're
together.
together. Tim and Darlene together.
Yeah.
Great.
Michael, are we expecting Michelle?
Yep, she's just gone back to her office as well, so.
Okay, perfect.
There you go.
There she is, yeah.
Hey, Michelle.
Hello. How is everyone?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
Well, there was one other.
BJ.
No, VJ wasn't a confirmed.
Okay, well, everyone I see that's accepted is accepted, so. Just keep an eye on the lobby. If someone jumps in, we can always bring them in. So, all right, so just, did you want to put the presentations up? So you can go to the, I have the 26th, so sorry, we're in the future here. That's actually tomorrow. It's only the 25th today. So, just, did anyone have anything that's, they want to cover in the agenda that's not on there?
No, not from our end.
No, I think we're good.
I just have a couple of general questions that we can deal with at the end.
Okay, we'll just note that. So Shannon, note that to circle back for the
Okay.
for the questions. And then so the review of the previous minutes. Shannon, did you get the minutes out too?
We did the recording this time.
We did the recording?
Yeah, so the recording's been on the website since a couple days after the last meeting. And then I added the action items to the website as well. Well, they got added. I didn't add them.
Okay, so I don't know if anyone had any questions from the last meeting that they had.
No questions for me, just it was great to see the recording on the website and then the action items. and how they will be dealt with today, or there were ones that Shannon followed up with as far as like website links and that type of thing. So that was great.
Okay, good. So I think that's the big thing is we want to make sure that when we talk about things and people would like to see, we'd like to make sure that we get them covered off, so. Right, so if there's, we can go on to the next slide and talk about the previous business. We have a couple of slides here dealing with the previous business from the last meeting. And the first the first item that we committed to was the stack docs reading back in the days where we had issues with the SCR. And so that was on April 13th and June 22nd. And so on this slide, you can see that our number was the 92.2 on the 13th and 99.9. And our compliance limit is 105. So we were still in compliance on both days. I just wrote down NOx. I didn't write down the HCL because we did have an HCL, an issue with baghouse number 2 on the last meeting. So I'm sorry I didn't put it in here, but I do have the numbers for us. So back on May 20th, when we had an issue in baghouse number 2, we've got the data for those readings. Our compliance limit is 18. And on baghouse number 1 was 14 parts per million. On baghouse number 2 was 18 parts per million. And the stack was 13 parts per million. So the way that the certificate reads is you exceed if you go above the 18 number. So we didn't have an exceedance, but we still reported the issue to the ministry as a precautionary measure. So we've got that information as we said we'd get for everybody. So any questions on that issue?
So I have a question. I think are we still just supposed to be seeing the agenda, or was there a page that you were referencing?
Oh, we should be on page 3. Is it?
Yeah, it seems to be frozen on the agenda unless it's.
It's on page 3 on ours.
Yeah. Is anybody else just seeing the agenda page?
I was originally, and then there was something at the bottom that said sync with presenter, and I hit that. Now Tim and I are on page 3.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good.
Okay.
Got it.
I think that'd just be automatic.
Yeah.
Well, it always was on the other meetings, so that's why I didn't even look down there. Thank you, though.
Yeah.
No problem.
Okay. Well, it's good you found that because the next slide, the next bits of information, are a little bit information intense. So it has to do with the emissions versus stack elevation. So we talked last meeting at re-examining the stack height and see what that has effect it has on emission levels. So the first little table that we have on slide 3 shows emissions versus stack height elevation, stack elevation. Now, the stack height actually affects different standards a little bit differently. So you can see that the 70-meter stack is the one that we have that's the one that we specified in our approval. And so what it is that's a factor. The factor that they apply, the unitary emission factor, is the factor that they apply to the in-stack concentrations that then get modeled over the terrain. And so at 70 for the 1 hour standard is 2.75, the 24 is 1.85, and the annual number is 0.12. When we increase the stack height to 90 meters, the emission factor drops, which is a good thing, from 2.75 to 1.17, and then 1.85 down to 0.47 and 0.12 to 0.05. And we go up again, higher again, it drops from 1.17 to 9.93 to 0.28 and 0.03. Now those numbers are so it shows that the stack height does have a more of an effect going from 70 to 90 than from 90 to 110, but it does show that it does have an effect on the modeled modeled concentrations. So what we did then was we modeled it, and then if you want to go to the next slide, you got it. So we modeled it on the parameters that were of most of note for us. So total particulate was the first number, the NOx 1 hour, the NOx 24 hour, and the benzoate. The modeled number we modeled an exceedance of the NOx 1 hour at 95.4. But the other two numbers were in compliance with the, and then the benzoate, the background level is so high, you can see we really don't change much because the background level is relatively high, most attributed to the transportation emissions in the community. But when we look at the 70 meter to the 90 meter stack, the particulate doesn't change significantly, but the NOx, there is a significant difference in the 1 hour NOx, and then a significant difference in the 24 hour NOx. The benzoate, it's very, there's virtually no change. And again, when you see that the concentrations for the 110 meter stack, a weird number happens when you model it, is the 1 hour NOx actually goes up a little bit. And that's just has to do with the weather model and the terrain model. It went up a little bit, but the 24 hour NOx comes down. But so it looks like the stack, increasing the stack to 90 meters to 90 to 100 meters would have an impact on the ground level concentrations. So that is something that we want to bring to the Ministry of the Environment when it comes time to submit our environmental compliance approval documents early next year, and then we will present them and say that we'd like to go up. We'd like to look at at least a 90 meter stack, if not a 100 meter stack. So that was kind of when I think it was Helen that mentioned that she wanted the highest stack possible, and that shows that there is a possibility of that. So it does have a positive impact on ground level concentrations. So any further discussion on those?
No, we're good.
I'll flag that for Helen. She'll be interested in hearing that info because she
Okay.
couldn't come today.
Okay. Okay. Good. And then now just jump into the operating update. So this is the update that this is a summary of what we did in the third quarter of 2025 compared to our 3-year average. So on non-hazardous waste, we brought in 33,145 tons, which was a little bit less than the average. It's just generally slow production that we had through the summertime. And international waste was up a little bit, but not as much as we were down on the non-hazardous waste. So the net result was that we were down about 3,000 tons for the quarter. The unacceptable waste was up a little bit again. The red numbers are kind of a bad thing, and then the green numbers are a good thing. So the unacceptable waste being up is relatively a bad thing, but again, it's within 871 versus 895 is within earshot. The recycled ferrous, that one's red because it's actually low. We normally recycle 326 tons per quarter, and we were down to 236, owing to the fact that we're still having trouble in the ash room to keep the ash line consistently processing, and that shows in the next two numbers. The bottom ash for reuse was down from our average, and the bottom ash for disposal was up. Again, the ash room operation is a little bit slow. The APC residue was up a little bit, but that actually translates to one load, so it's not all that significant. It was one load that we would have shipped out, so it's pretty much bang on where we expect it to be. The fly ash and slag, that's 121 tons. We generally take about 8 to 10 tons of fly ash and slag every shutdown. We had 3 shutdowns in the summertime, so that or in the third quarter, so that's up a little bit. And our diversion rate, it's usually at around 85%, but we're down to 77%. Again, largely attributed to the lower bottom ash reuse, that we are disposing of the bottom ash that's not processed as waste in landfill. So any questions from anyone?
Michelle's typing.
I'll just, rather than wait, you're waiting for me to type. My question is just regarding that I've heard that in 2026, recycling for the region of Peel will now be handled by a company called Circular Materials. And I was just wondering, is that going to have any anticipated change to your processes going forward? Or the amount of waste that you're expected to take in?
I don't expect so. The circular materials handles all the blue box materials. So that is, they're taking over the blue box materials from the municipalities. I'm not really up on that whole file because it's not something that we get involved with. There may be changes to that over time, depending on what circular materials, the rules that circular materials have to comply with. There was one number that that was changed in the regulations or that was added to the regulations, and that is that they would allow, the province would allow circular materials to divert up to 15% of its waste to EFW and still count as diversion. But that's not something we really can accommodate because the volumes of circular materials are going to handle are massive compared to our volumes. So we really couldn't take that much more material. Making up that 3,000 tons is basically bringing in a little bit more commercial waste that we would normally bring in, or the municipalities would bring in a little bit more waste. It's a very small amount of waste, over a quarter. But circular materials, we haven't talked to circular materials in any direct or indirect way. So it's just something we're aware of.
Okay, thanks for clarifying.
Okay. If not, we can jump on to slide number 6, which talks about our operating update with the energy production. Our EFW steam, it was pretty close to average. Like, we're only 700,000 pounds off. 700. It's not 700,000. 700,000 pounds. So the reason was we're actually getting better production per ton of waste. We usually would get about 2.75 to 2.8 tons of steam per ton of waste, and in the third quarter we were just a little bit over 3. So we were getting more steam out of the waste, which meant that our steam drop wasn't as drastic as our waste production drop. The auxiliary steam is up quite a bit. Again, that's because of the IESO dispatch changes. So over the summertime, we had a lot of dispatches to provide electricity to the grid, and we had to divert steam that we would normally send down to Cascades into the turbine to produce electricity. So that meant that we had to turn on the auxiliary boiler much more often, and you can also see that in the next number, our EFW to Cascades is down quite a bit for that same reason. And finally, you can see that our electricity going to the grid is up quite a bit. 2,500, almost 2,600, about 2,500 megawatt hours. So it was, we were producing the bottom line is we're producing much more electricity this quarter in response to the needs in the grid. And a little bit more of that came from the EFW steam. But Cascades, we ended up sending them more auxiliary gas steam. So I think this quarter will probably be a little quieter, but we'll wait and see. The electricity market is very dynamic. So right now, because we have the change of rules in May has changed how the market operates, and I think all the operators, the generators are still trying to figure out, the generators and the ISO are still trying to figure out exactly how the market all works. So and we're one of those operators that are working on how to figure it out.
Joe,
Yes.
you said you had to divert to IESO at their request. Was that the reason?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So we have a contract with the IESO that basically says if we need power, we tell you, and then you have to give us as much power as you can produce. So that's when we divert EFW steam to the turbine, and as opposed to giving it to Cascades.
Okay,
All right, so
thank you.
and next slide is our operating update on a little bit of environmental and maintenance. So we had a good quarter for emissions. So we had no emissions, no emission exceedances. We only had on September 20th, the only outage we had was the SCR was shut down for planned maintenance. So we, at least once a year, we shut down the SCR to do some cleaning and maintenance of the burner itself inside the SCR. The flue gases continue to be treated by everything in the air pollution control system, with the exception of the SCR. All the gas is diverted up the old stack. They call it the old stack. It's the one that's in the first stack from the building, so it's the black stack. So it is still it is still being fully treated. So we filed that filed that notice with the Ministry of the Environment that we were shutting it down. And then because we had a unit down for production or for maintenance, that we reduced our production as we're required to. If we ever take the SCR down, we're required to go to the lower production. One unit has to come offline to allow for the fact that the SCR isn't treating the flue gas. So that was the only environmental issue that we had all quarter. So that was like a fairly light quarter from an environmental perspective. On the maintenance end of things, we had 642 hours of planned maintenance. So that's when we shut down units 1, 2, and 3 for repairs, for regular repairs. And then we also had a refractory issue on unit number 3 where it had to be taken down a second time for us to be able to cool it down and go in and fix some refractory that had failed. So, but 642 hours is not too bad for the 4 shutdowns. And then we had 508 hours of unplanned maintenance, and then half of these were actually covered off in 3 different repairs. So we had a leak in one of our boilers, the economizer and the boiler that in unit number 5. And then we had a loader ram failure on unit number 5 and a transfer ram leak on unit number 5. And those 3 were over 250 hours. So unit 5 had a bit of a rough time, but I think I don't think it's been acting up like it was in the third quarter. So it's the second quarter. So yeah, so that was but I think our hours are in context. I think our hours were pretty much normal. They were kind of in the normal range. Any questions?
No.
Okay, and then if we go to the next slide.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, a couple of updates on our hydrogen or on our projects that we're still working on. The Cascade steam realignment, or Cascade steam replacement. We're continuing to have discussions with Cascades. We just had a call with them last week. We're still going back and forth. They have expressed interest in continuing the contract for another 10 years. We're just coming to terms on our contract. So we should expect some direction from them by the end of the year. So we have another meeting with them a week Friday, and we're hoping to wrap up an extension and at least agreement in principle to extend it by the end of the year. If we do get that agreement in place, we are looking to replace the whole steam line all at once next year. So that would be right from Cascades right back to the plant here. So we have a couple of issues we have to take care of with that. We have to get an agreement from Hydro One, the Hydro One networks to lease some land from them, and then get the infrastructure approved by the city, the crossing approved, the new crossing approved by the city. And then to that end, we have a meeting on December 9th with the city. So we have a couple of things that we should have a lot more direction for everybody in the new year. On our hydrogen pilot project, I think we've mentioned this before, but the hydrogen pilot project is on hold pending a customer signing. We are waiting to hear back from the city of Brampton and or the city of Mississauga about their fuel cell bus program. And really, until we get a customer, we're not in a position to to put the hydrogen unit in. And now that the hydrogen unit is also bumping into the next page, which is the redevelopment project. When we originally got the hydrogen funding, we didn't expect it to drag on this long, but we're now bumping into our the redevelopment project. So when we are progressing on the FEED study, so that's the feasibility engineering design study, and they're working out the final layouts for the new facility. So we should have that final layout ready hopefully this week, maybe this week or next week, and then we'll be looking to get a detailed cost for the project by the first quarter in 2026. We are looking to secure the energy contracts, and that's to extend the steam contract, as well as negotiate new electricity contracts by the second quarter of 2026. And a couple of points on the negotiating the energy contract is.
Sorry, Joe, can I just interrupt you for
Sure.
1 second? I just want to clarify, our printout skipped page 9.
Oh,
So Joe was just reading off of page 10 there.
Oh,
If
okay.
you go to the next, for
Next
some
page?
reason, the printer,
botched it.
yeah, there.
Okay, there we go.
Sorry about that.
All right, sorry. I kind of thought that was a bit abrupt. So page 9, so slide 9 is we're still going through the FEED study. We're still looking to develop the site in 2 phases, but we don't know whether we're going to be on the 2 lines or 3 lines. The idea is that with phase 1 would put in either a 300,000 ton line or a 450,000 ton line while the existing plant runs, and then phase 2 would put in either 2 300,000 ton lines or 1 450,000 ton line. So that's still on the table. And so if I go backwards, that's what the FEED study is evaluating. So sorry for that.
So I've got a question on that, because I was trying to work my memory from the last meeting, because you were going to have, I thought there was going to be a total shutdown and a demolition, right, to take, for the demolition and the construction. So is the idea now that you're going to continue being able to operate part of the facility as you build a new facility, or how's that all happening?
Yeah, our preference has always been to operate the existing facility until the first line of the new facility is up and running.
Okay.
And we're trying to achieve that, but that's what the FEED study is going to look at. So the contractor is looking at 3 options. One is to shut the whole facility down and build the new facility all at once. That's going to be probably the least expensive option, but it's not necessarily the one that we want, simply because we have a business that's operating and we don't want to shut down the business.
Right.
And then the other one is there a possibility for us to put 2 lines in, so 2 450,000 ton lines in while we're operating the existing facility. Now, there may be modifications to the existing facility that we have to do to accommodate that. So that'd be like, it would be going from 5 lines down to 3 lines, at least our initial discussions are looking at that model. And which would mean we would have to take down our existing air pollution control system, put in a temporary one, keep running 3 lines until for 2 or 2.5 years or so, while the first line of the new plant is being built. And then once the first line of the new plant is up and running, then we would shut down and decommission this facility, and then build the remaining part of the expanded facility. So, and then that option is looking at a 450,000 ton line and 350,000 ton lines. So,
So you're gonna
sorry, the 300,000 ton lines.
you're gonna be making that decision then early new year, right?
Yes. So it'll probably be even in December. So before the new year. The contractor is looking at them all. They're only going to fully price the one we go with, because there's technical feasibility that we're looking at. The one decision we did make, and it's all everyone prefers, is that when it comes to the stack, we only want 1 stack. So there's only going to be one. It'll look like 1 stack. There'll be 2 stacks within a single, 2 or 3 stacks within a single structure, but there'll only be 1 windshield, so 1 vertical shaft. That'll be the stack. So we agree that that'd be the best solution for the property.
Yeah, and so I tend to agree with that idea as well. The design of the facility in terms of do you have anything that we're going to look at today, or that's still yet to come in the early new year? Because I know you did show us, I think, something at the last meeting, if I'm not mistaken. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, I sent out the link for the physical model that they were looking to mimic.
yeah.
Yeah, so we don't have anything yet. There's a couple of things. If we go with two 450,000 ton lines, the boiler itself is a little bit bigger. So we have to go from I think the 300,000 ton per year line, the boiler is 35 meters high, but the 450,000 ton per year facility, I think the boiler is 50 meters high. So it's a little bit, the building's a little bit taller, but it's not a big profile. It's not a big part of the building. It's just a bump up and then comes back down. And then we've also looked at making the bunker a little bit smaller. The standard storage is 10 days of waste. And we've moved down to the 5 to 7 days storage of waste. So that'll get the facility, the size of the facility a little bit smaller. So they're all still within good design standards, but it just makes the facility less massive and easier to build on our site, constrained as it is with the existing operation.
So are you going to be, I remember the very first meetings we had, you had shown us, of course, some of the European designs. Is there a concerted effort still to try and make this facility look as attractive as possible?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that and it attractive and there's some innovation that they're looking to do on building coverings and to try to make the building look as quote unquote small as possible. So
yeah. So I mean, in principle, I mean, and the interest that we have with Lark to the north.
Mm.
I mean, I'll be honest, the whole incineration thing is I am in favor of it in principle. I think we should be dealing with our own trash here. I'm not big on shipping to another country like we do. And these meetings have been really informative for me. And to be honest, I'm quite impressed with the amount of detail, and obviously there's regulations that you're adhering to. So from our perspective, because of the interest we have in the future development of those lands to the north, the belief is if it's properly designed, you've got the functionality of it, and the tech, but if it can also be made to look attractive, that's ideal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of being good neighbors, as it were. So that's obviously what our interest is, because of the perception of this facility, right? As we move forward to redevelop those lands to the north, we don't want this facility to, we're confident that you run a great facility. We just want it to be as attractive as possible, obviously within limits of reason, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and I think we were talking about coordinating with your architect, and I never did get contacted by him. So if you could remind the architect to reach out to me, that I could put him in touch with the guys in the design team.
Yeah, we will. We'll reach back out to them to see what's happened in that regard. But absolutely. So thank you for that. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Like I said, we want this facility to look to be a nice facility, something that it's something that's
Aesthetically pleasing.
aesthetically pleasing as possible. It's going to be a big building, so we can't hide the building, but we can make it look nice. So
no, absolutely, and you showed some great examples, and again, everything's contextually based. So within reason, make it attractive, and it reflects really well then on Emerald at the end of the day, right? So yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, no, we're happy to do that. Now, just to kind of talk about the energy contracts, there's a couple of things that are are coming up. So the steam contract may be extended, the energy contract for the electricity. There's recent changes in the electricity laws that allow allow power to be sold directly to Class A customers. So people with more than a 5 megawatt load on the grid, we can sell directly to them through the Ontario grid. So we are working with the IESO to understand those new rules and then how those rules apply, and to see if we could do that, because we have a couple of EFW customers who have high electricity loads that would like to buy their electricity from us directly. So we're looking to go that path. Or there is a new long-term electricity supply agreement coming up in, I think it's going to be in June. It's called LT3, so the long-term supply 3 contract, and that's coming up in yes, like I say, coming up in June, and that is going to allow for new generators. The current supply contracts that are out right now, and that they call the LT2, only allows expansions. And then when we talk to the IESO, they advised us that going from 10 to 40 megawatts, they'd see that as an expansion, but going from 10 to 100 megawatts, that's new. So they said they can't, like a 10 times is not considered an expansion. So we didn't qualify under LT2, but we're continuing to work on the electricity contracts. And we've got a few other things that are still very ideas that have come up with district heating schemes that have come up through a few different parties. So I can't say much about them because they're still just very conceptual, but they're very exciting if they're possible. So it could look at bringing district heating system up straight up Bramley Road, and even further south down toward the airport. So it could be something that's very exciting for the community, because it could be a combination of the direct heat that we generate from the FW, or even just the quote unquote waste heat, the low grade heat that we currently just vent to the atmosphere. There could be an opportunity to use it to heat and cool commercial and residential users along like all along Bramley Road. So it's pretty exciting if it works. A couple of approvals that we have to get, and the first one is the site plan agreement from the city of Brampton, but we really can't get that until we get the final layout. So we think that by January 2026 we will have that. The GTAA zoning for the building, they're a commenting agency on the site plan, so that'll come in at the same time. We are, technically inside the zoning area as defined by the city of Brampton, but we are outside the control area defined by the airport. So we're kind of in a gray area, and we're hoping to be able to get that cleared up and get that approved as all part of the site plan. We've got the waste and air, stormwater, environmental compliance approvals. We'll be submitting them probably in January, maybe as late as February of 2025, and we expect to have them in 2026. So that'll give us a year to get them done. In the fall, we'll get them in 2027, and then so we'll submit them in January 2026. In the fall, the construction is going to start in the fall of 2026, the pre-construction, and that's just doing all the preparation work. The site works and the roads and utility will be started in the spring of 2027, the foundations and in the summer of 2027, and then the building and equipment installation and later on in that fall. And right now we're still on track to be up and running late 2028, early 2029 with the first phase. So I don't know if anyone had any more questions, any questions on that?
And then you have the page that we have last.
Yeah, I just put that in there because people I had just had that on everyone.
Oh,
Because
okay.
everyone asks like, well, what are the emission criteria? So I just stick that on there just as a reference.
All right.
So. And if there was questions from,
Yeah, Susan, you
Yeah.
had some
Well, first of all, did you do in-stack measurements in the first week in November?
Sorry.
And staff measurements.
Yeah,
Oh,
the stack
testing?
testing, yes, that happened, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and so
So-
far, our preliminary results was everything went well?
Are preliminary, but we haven't gotten any of the analytics back yet.
Okay,
So,
so you couldn't report on those here?
no, I don't have them. Like, the numbers are just visual, like, we have to wait until everything gets
Okay.
analyzed and.
I think we can say that all our meters, that they have meters and they look at our meters, they all matched.
Yeah.
So, so all of the stuff that we matched, we monitor regularly, were the same, and they were all in compliance.
Yeah.
And then we have, and so what we are just waiting for is all the analytical tests that they collect the samples and they've gone out to laboratories.
Yeah, we can say that based on observation, but we still need to get the actual physical results back. Which
And
should
in
be,
your proposed design, and we were talking about 2 or 3 stacks within one, how will that affect your measurements and compliance with the Ontario standards?
Each stack would be monitored separately. So there'd be 3 pipes in the one stack, and each of those 3 pipes would have a separate sampling and monitoring access. So we wouldn't blend them all together. Every unit would be matched.
And my other question was, have you been in touch or do you communicate with Peel Region regarding the recommendations that came out of the Peel Region Health Study? Like what is going on there as far as they made 5 recommendations in their report?
Yeah, from what I remember of the recommendations, none of them actually requested anything from us. So, they were to the Ministry of the Environment, and I believe the conditions that the Ministry of the Environment put on our environmental assessment approval covered those off. But I will check and get back and see if there's anything that we need to do to address any of the issues that Peel Regional Health did, but I think
Yeah,
they're all
I'm
covered
trying to
off on
find
those
out
conditions,
what-
but I should
Pardon?
check.
I'm trying to find out what happened with that report because Peel Region was supposed to write a letter to the ministry, but other than seeing the report with the recommendation, haven't heard any information about what happened after that. But that would be great if you have any further information about it.
Okay. I can check.
And one
check
final
back on that.
question is, if you had any advice to the community at large about residential waste, what would be the top things that people could do to about their waste to reduce or just lessen the impact of waste?
The first is the blue box, use as much as possible in the blue box.
Mhm.
So the fibers in the containers, that's the best way to try to get as much of that out of the waste stream as possible. That'll reduce the volume, like the actual physical volume. The second is to use the green bin, like again, you don't have to be crazy about it. You don't have to collect every, like every little bit of organics, but to use your green bin as best as possible, to try to, and that'll really reduce the weight of the trash. And the third thing is to make use of the special waste collection system. So when you have paint or any kind of special waste that's in and around the house, that is best to use those to use the system that Peel has for collecting that sort of stuff rather than just throwing in a green bag or a black bag. So like
Mhm.
those 3, and what you'll end up having is a fairly small amount of trash that is that can be easily processed by the FW facility. the DFW facility can process all those other materials too, like the blue box and it physically can. But the
Mhm.
issue is that it's probably not the best use of those resources. So it's just, you use those other programs as best you can. And then what's left over, like, don't feel bad about putting in the trash because it's not going to landfill. So,
Right.
that's it. About all, that's the best way to look at waste is, you don't think about it too much because you're just gonna stress yourself.
Yeah. Well, I even went to the Peel Waste site, and I mean, they don't even really have a PDF that you can download about what you put where. It's all the information is there, but it's not easily retrieved or um, um, in a way that you could keep it on hand to check.
What do you mean, like what you put in each bin, Susan?
Yes, yeah. They list it there, but you can't, there's not sort of a single PDF to print out and keep handy. There is a lot of information, and it is confusing actually, because some things they seem to contradict each other in different categories, whether it's your waste or your recycle. Anyway, that's just a
Yeah.
quick look I had at it recently.
Yeah, I think the municipalities have been a little bit reluctant to invest in all the these programs over the last maybe 12 months as the CMO is being prepared to, the Circular Materials Ontario is being prepared to take over the program. So that's who will be responsible for standardizing and promoting the program of circular materials, and that's the producers. So hopefully you'll see some better information come out in the new year. But
There
it's,
was there was a little flyer just saying about circular taking over, but it wouldn't have much impact, was the what it seemed to advertised, but there was informational about the change. Other than that, I guess we'll have to look and see what happens in the next little while.
yeah. But it's I think they just use those three programs to the best of your ability, and then if you have a question about it, it's if you have something that's questionable, like, frankly, it's better to put it in trash, because the contamination in the blue box and the green bin really wreak havoc in those systems. It's especially the green bin.
Yeah.
It really makes a mess if there's contamination in it. And the blue boxes, it's just that they end up throwing out, because if you put something in the blue box that isn't right, that it's not just that one piece that gets thrown out, it's stuff that might get stuck to it, and then you do make it, when things aren't clean going into the recycling centers, it creates more problems. So if you
Right.
have a question about something, sometimes it's better, as from an effectiveness point of view, is just put that as the trash. And certainly any special waste, if you have oil, paints, solvents, like
Yeah.
spray, anything, like all that stuff, save all that up and bring it down to be disposed of at the special waste
Yeah.
depots.
Susan, if you go on the Peel Region website and go to
Mhm.
the waste collection calendar,
Yeah,
and put your address in, it has a little slideshow of what to put in your garbage, recycling, and organics,
mm-hmm.
with pictures, but you would have to, I guess, if you wanted a printed PDF, you would have to print them separately, but it has
Right.
some pretty good info here.
They
Yeah,
also-
oh yeah, I think there is a lot of information there, but it's just in a way to sort of keep it conveniently by where you set up all your, bins inside the house to double check. You don't want to keep going back to the computer necessarily, or website. Just Anyway, just thinking of the convenience. What wreaks the most havoc in residential waste for Emerald?
Nothing really, like it's, too much organics is not good for us just because it's wet. Um, if you have a lot of the special wastes in there, like like we don't want to have like the paints and all that, so like the solvents. Because that's,
Right.
again, it just makes a different emission profile that we don't want. But it, the temperatures we're operating at, it does take care of all the things that we've talked about, with the exception of some of the worst industrial wastes that are out there. But from a household in general, there's nothing that can't be processed through. But again, it's not the best use of those resources. So
Yeah.
you're looking at the hierarchy, use the best available use first before you recover energy from it.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Okay. Any other new business?
Nope. Not for me.
Okay. Do we want to set the date and time for the next meeting? I think we said mid-February. That'll allow us to hopefully get the stack sampling results back.
Oh, we'll get them back by, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It has to be 3 months after the testing, so.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's February,
is it?
November, yeah, mid-February.
Sorry.
So the 10th, the 17th is after the long weekend. I don't know if everybody wants to jump into that, so we can do the 10th or the 24th of February.
Just let me check when I'm away.
What was suggested?
One sec, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just checking my schedule. Just give me 1 second. We do it at the end of February, is that?
24th.
I'm just gonna absolutely confirm. Sorry.
Okay, February 24th?
Sorry, just give us one more second.
Of course, my calendar's not coming out.
Well, we'll set it for the 24th. If we have to change it,
Yeah, okay.
we can all agree.
Okay.
So, yeah, we'll write it in for the 24th for now.
Good, same time, 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good for the 24th.
Am I off?
Oh, you are off the 24th?
Oh, yeah, I'm all off earlier February. It's better.
The 10th.
So do we want to, sorry, is the 10th okay for everybody?
So, okay. for me.
Yeah.
That's okay. for me.
Yep, sure.
No,
Okay.
10th, is
10th
not
it
good.
is.
What, sorry?
Sorry, 10th isn't good for me.
Okay. What about the 17th? It's just the day after the long weekend, but I don't think it's a huge deal.
Well, if the 10th works, just go with the 10th.
Well, Michelle can't make it
Oh,
on the
okay,
10th.
sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yep,
17th?
17th should be okay.
Is that okay for me? I think it might be.
Okay, well, we'll do it for the
Yeah.
17th for now. If things have to change, we'll reassess.
You could just do your part remote.
Yeah,
Yeah,
from
from the
your
beach.
vacation, yeah.
That'd be hilarious.
The 17th is family day.
No, it's the day after.
Monday's the family day.
Oh, sorry. I'm just gonna stop. Just I'll work around your schedule.
Okay, the 17th it is. That's mid-February.
Okay,
Okay, thanks everybody for coming.
Good.
thank
Thank
you.
And feel free to reach out with any questions before the 17th or the 10th or the 24th.
Okay,
All right, thank you very
Okay.
much.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks very much, everyone.
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay,
Good night.
bye-bye.
Okay, we have stopped recording.